Absolutely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to skip most of my slides on the blue economy, where I talk about the potential which has not been exploited or been talked about.
That'll be
Pakistan.
great. That'll be great.
So here we go. Yeah, I have traversed the full spectrum of maritime industry, fortunately, on the international side in the global world. 53 years, and almost in every segment of maritime industry I've covered. As a maritime administrator in UAE and as in ship finance institutions, as well as a ship owner, plus the smaller ones as a consultant and as a surveyor or inspectors and everything. Now, my company, of course, is a consulting firm. We do completely on the maritime side as well as oil and gas, especially on LNG. The global maritime economy, global blue economy, I will ask one question from the audience. The whole question of environment, which is based on the basis of COP21. Is there global warming potential reduction mandatory under COP21 or voluntary? I would very much like to have an answer to that, because I think most of the people are not aware that COP21, 2 degrees temperature reduction by 2100 is voluntary. It's up to the countries to decide. It's up to the country that how they're going to handle it. After the COP21, when John Kerry came back to US, he was asked how this will be enforced. And his answer was that we will shame those countries which do not follow. So please be aware when you're making the policy as a policymaker that it's a voluntary thing, it's not a mandatory thing. And yes, you have to take care of the environment, but you do it without compromising your economy. Now, moving on to Pakistan coastal, everybody has talked, and I'm not going to go into the details, but on the right-hand side, I put a graph that Zalzala Island appeared in 2013 off the coast of Makran after the earthquake over there. And this island was pushed up because of the leakage of methane gas, which is the gas which is used to convert, natural gas, which is used to convert into LNG. Now, why is it that the LNG or the natural gas over there off the coast of Makran, Balochistan has not been exploited yet? Before that, there was another earthquake. I think that happened sometime in 1950s or 60s, and there was an island which appeared, was called Milam Island. And again, it was pushed up, and of course it disappeared when the gas leakage subsided over there. And it was not explored. Yes, you need 20 trillion cubic foot of, reserves to make an economical development of a gas field. But then again, there are today, in 2023, there are technologies which are available which can develop the standard gas. So why isn't this technology has been used or been explored in Pakistan? Now, this is the Pakistan shale play, which is the non-conventional gas and oil. Pakistan has got 9 billion barrels of oil reserves in the upper Indus Delta. This report is by EIA, Energy Information Agency, and this report came out in 2015. This has got a gas also, technically recoverable, and it has got the oil also, which is technically recoverable. And why till today it has not been explored or talked about? I go to the next one. This is again the USGS assessment that the Indus Delta has got a reserves of undiscovered reserves of oil and gas over there. I haven't seen a single rig over there or a single exploration possibilities or talked about, or even read into the local medias. Sustainability. Yes, we have to be extremely careful in sustainability, because I can't read the numbers from here, it is 191 million acres, I think it is, for which is water consumption. 80% of the Pakistan's water resources are considered unsafe. Or not, yeah. It is 80% of the water supplied in Pakistan is considered unsafe, and water scarcity and waterborne diseases result in a loss of 1.44% to the GDP. Projected water scarcity is serious concern. IMF report says that the total availability of water at 191 million acre per feet. By 2025, it will go up to 274, and it is complicated by the projected melting of 1/3 of the ice cap of the Himalayan ice cap. So we have got a serious water problem over here, and what we are doing about it. Our rainwaters are drained into the sea, and rather than being collected like it used to be done 5,000 years ago in the Indus Valley. The Pakistan maritime profile. Pakistan's maritime profile is that the mercantile trade is 134 million dollars in current US dollars. And the transport service trade is $16,334,000. Now, here's the important one, the maritime key facts for 2021 from UNCTAD. Shipbuilding, 0 GT. Ships recycling is the only sector which equates to 19% of the global scrapping. It used to be number 1 in the world a few years ago. National flag is 868,000 tons in deadweight, which equates to 0.04% of the global tonnage when you compare to that. The fleet, 58 ships. Fleet ownerships, 1,405 tons deadweight. In number of port calls, 3,792. I will skip this slide because I think it has already been talked about. Now, looking at this, the 4 main sectors, it's not restricted to 4 main sectors, but it is what they have been used to calculate the impact of maritime economy onto the country's GDP. Services sector, resources, manufacturing, and education and research. Now, looking at the services sector, is the largest contributor into the GDP maritime economy. And among these service sectors, the subsectors which contributes is the shipping, which is and tourism. That the 2 main subsectors which contributes to the economy. Resources, fisheries is the top sector which contributes to the maritime economy. The figures which I am showing over here is the figures for UK, so it doesn't apply to Pakistan, but it's the general percentage of application of the contribution of different factors to the maritime economy and to the GDP are very much reflected over here. Now, maritime value chain. At this point, please, I would like everybody to pay attention to. The maritime value chain starts with education, research, and everything. That's the front end of it. So we spend 0.02% of our GDP if we spend, in Pakistan, if Pakistan spend, they spend 0.02% of its GDP on the education sector. But I've seen the gaps. In some years that even 0.02% has been skipped from there. This is the port value chain. I'll skip it. Now, what is the correlation between the maritime trade and world GDP? It is an average. It contributes 1.5% of the GDP to the country's GDP on the maritime sector. What are the effects? There are direct effects, which means if you, like PNC employs people directly, but then there are indirect effects and catalytic and induced effects. The indirect effect is that those people who are employed by PNSC goes and buy from the supermarket. So that's the contribution they make to the GDP. So it is If an economy of the country has to grow, they have to have these, they have to take all these factors into consideration. Now, how do you grow the maritime economy? You grow the maritime economy around a ship owner, because it's the ship owner which attracts all the other industries. The service providers, the bunker suppliers, the shipbuilders, the security companies, the travel agents, all these companies are attracted by the presence of the ship owner. Now, unfortunately, this country had a very healthy shipping sector. When I grew up over here, and I was initially working in this industry in the 70s. But that despaired. It was a very vibrant industry at that time. There were 111 ships. There were private owners who were ordering the ships. But unfortunately, those private owners have taken their ships and their investment from outside countries. Now, coming to that also, why Pakistan does not have an international flag like a Singapore flag? So they can attract those ship owners, which are beneficial ownership is Pakistani nationals, and they can attract those ship owners back by giving them the tax incentives rather than losing it completely. By attracting them, they will be able to generate jobs. They will be able to add value to the whole economy, to the maritime economy of Pakistan. And that will produce more and more competent people and better maritime dealing of the maritime situation. Now, if I did a benchmarking, because I did this study in 2008, on the right-hand side is the different maritime clusters. The most perfect cluster is Singapore. And then for Pakistan, I've done it as a desktop, because what is available, whatever information was available to me on the internet. And so please, if there will be an error in there, it may not be exact on the Pakistan side, but because I collected my information from what I just read. You can see the different clusters have got different strengths, but one of the clusters which is completely and complete is Singapore, which has got 4.13 rating calculation with different weights. The weights I showed in my previous slide, which were there, the closest relationship to the ship owner is with the finance. Then the next closest relationship is with the yards. So here, on that basis, they've taken 5 things. I rate Pakistan at the moment at 4.25. But the positive thing about this is the chances of Pakistan going up are more than Pakistan going down on this side, maritime economy side. This is the global ship fleet, so I will skip that also. Okay, I already said that it was 0.04%. Now coming to this is an extra slide I have put on LNG. I have, as I said, that I have been involved in LNG since 2002 when I wrote my first report on it when I was with DVB Bank in Rotterdam. And I understand LNG. And then I got the opportunity to work practically on an LNG development of an LNG to regasification terminal in Abu Dhabi by a company by Abu Dhabi Mubadala, and the terminal was to be developed in Fujairah or Ras Al Khaimah. And I did the site selection and the concepts. There are much cheaper concepts available. Why is this FSRU concept, which has been taken, even on then particular concept, you can see that the what would you call it, MMP regasification cost I've given here, I'll have to turn, on a 15 years basis from 4 different parties. These are actual numbers. Was from 23 cents to 22.5. Why are we leasing the FSRU? If you're going to lease an FSRU at that cost, which is $150,000 a day, it equates to $54 million a year, and multiply that by 15 years is $821 million. And after spending $821 million, you've got zero to show for because you don't have an asset. Now, in the bottom, I have put down if you own the vessel. If you own the vessel at the same specs, the cost is 7 cents per MMBTU for the regasification. And the best thing is, at the end of 15 years, you still have an asset. You still have an asset which is valued at $240 million if you have paid to $280 million. So it is, and then you have a value added by providing jobs and training to your own people. I think I will skip most of them and I will conclude the potential is enormous and we just have to capitalize on that potential. Thank you very much.